Thanks for being on, Tamara.
Hi.
This is the Mitches podcast, and I'm here with Tamara Shevon.
Hello. We made it happen.
We did it.
I'm super pumped. You have such a nice view. I guess people can't really tell, but you have the nicest view of just like, it's very like downtown Sex in the City.
Yeah, but it's not like it's specific, like there's the CN Tower. You just see like a bunch of buildings.
Yeah, which makes you feel a little bit better, I think, when you wake up.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if anything was ever going wrong, people could be around to help you very quickly.
Yes.
Except for, well, I guess what's happening next door.
My neighbor has fallen and the paramedics are here, but they're looking for the key, which apparently buildings have a lockbox with a master key.
Yeah.
But does it sound like they're in there now?
It sounds like they're in there, and I just want to point out that this is totally something that would happen right when I come for the podcast. Like, could be any other normal day, but for me, I'm just like walking in, there's a full-blown like medical system outside. I'm like, what's happening?
Do you feel like your luck brings chaos, or
yeah,
you wander into it?
Chaos follows me. I'm trying to live a Zen life. I don't know if anyone knows this about me. I've been trying to live a Zen life, and every week there's just the most insane thing that happens to me. Like, I was just trying to like live a little housewife life where I make food every day of the week and different stuff. I don't like eating the same food twice in a row.
Oh, nice.
Which is like, my boyfriend hates that about me.
Yeah.
But I was driving to No Frills, and as I was driving to No Frills, there was just like a child walking in the middle of the street. Like, and when I say child, I mean like 2 years old.
Oh my God.
And cars were zooming by, and then I had to like pull over and get out and be like, where are your parents? Like, hold his hand. There's a guy gardening outside, just didn't even notice this child in the middle of the road. This is just me going to get chicken, okay? And then I'm trying to like help find the parents, and then there's a house there with the door kind of cracked open. He kind of just like opened it on his own, and like he's so short, I don't know how he did it, and then just ran out into the street, and the mom came down, and I was like, I found is this your kid? Like, and she's like, oh yeah, thanks. And I was like, oh yeah,
chill?
thanks.
Oh.
She looked like she was like on Xanax, like honestly. And I was like, should I call CAS? But I'm like, it's not even 11 a.m. So that's been what's going on.
That's so hard. Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, things like that happen to me all the time, like every day.
Oh my God.
Okay, so what just happened?
We just heard the paramedics say fire is coming. They're going to break through the door. So, shit.
I mean, that's kind of a turn of events. I mean, we're going to keep going until fire comes. Is that insensitive?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think we can help this situation.
No, there's nothing. I can't go through the door.
A key to his building. It would be amazing if you were like, stand back, and then you just like kick down the door.
Yeah, well, like I could, but
stand back. We're comedians.
I'm gonna tell my worst jokes, and the door will just fall apart.
I have a history degree.
Oh, do you? History, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I learned history in French.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I was in an extended French program, so I learned history, geography, gym in French was wild. Everything except for math and science. So when people talk to me about like historical events, I have to like translate them in my mind. I'm like, I've never heard of that war. And I'm like, oh wait, I have.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you speak French?
Yeah.
I say that because some people have told me they went to French immersion and can't speak any French.
That's possible. Okay, because it is easy to forget your French if you're not practicing it after a while.
Yeah.
But I went to university. I did like a dual major in communication studies and global studies.
Oh my God.
And to graduate with a global studies degree, you have to take a language throughout the 4 years.
Yeah, as you should.
So I just kept speaking French.
That's amazing.
And so that's kind of why I didn't lose it. If I didn't do that, like if I didn't take that degree, like I probably would have lost my French. Because who's speaking French in Toronto?
We're not a very francophone town.
No, like I don't even like. I think the only thing people say in French are like products, like skin products.
People are reading the cereal box on the other side.
Yeah, everyone's just like, I know French, eau de toilette. That's about it, right? So it's like, yeah.
I like that degree though, communications and global studies.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted it to be that like, I have two parts of me. Like I'm a corporate girly where I like love being a manipulator, a like marketer, advertising genius, like know all the ways to work with the human mind and like get anything I want. But then the other side of me is like, what about the people? So I like kind of grew up like being like torn between like, do I want to make a lot of money or do I want to have like a humanitarian side? And then I just kind of like did both. And so they still offer dual degrees, but I don't think people know that they're able to take them. Like you can get 2 degrees for the price of one.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just do one major and then they have like electives and minors.
Yeah.
Which like I did that in my first year. I was taking like anthropology and like sociology and women's studies and I was like, I hate this and I'm not doing this. Like I'd rather just have 2 things I focus on entirely instead of being like, oh, cool, Caribbean studies when I'm literally already Caribbean. I don't need to like spend money to learn about my own culture.
What part of the Caribbean?
Jamaica.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Were you born in Toronto or?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Toronto, so we're Jamaican Jews, which is like very wild.
I didn't know they had them.
There's very few of us left in the world. Like about 230. They've burnt down every synagogue that we've ever had in Kingston.
So was it like Caribbean people who were converted or
no?
How did Jamaican Jews come about?
There is like a conversion thing that people go through, but like my great grandmother is Israeli.
Okay.
And so like she immigrated with her sister to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how our family line started there.
That's very cool.
So every Jamaican Jew is related to me. That is in
it's
Jamaica.
just like
it's like literally going in and then.
Yeah, like a handful of people move there and
Yeah.
it's their descendants.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
It is very.
I remember someone told me once, like my friend's parents when I was a teenager was just like, there's Jews everywhere, but I never really picture them. Never in the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
Like Europe, Africa, sure.
Yeah.
Even still, like not a lot of, I don't know.
I would argue pretty like in terms of similarity to like the Jewish culture, I feel like the Caribbean culture is very similar.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of like family morals and like values, a lot of like a lot of things that are like rooted in like deep family historical roots, like making sure you preserve the culture, like a lot of having to go to like church or like, you know, synagogue, but like the same kind of structure of it, like the meaning behind it's all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And so I don't know who influenced whom.
Yeah.
What influenced what, but I find that with my Caribbean side of like, because my dad was also Jamaican, but I find that like he was a Jamaican Christian, so I find that like the values we have with both, and I guess with all religion, it's kind of all comes together in the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
don't be a dick, take care of your family, eat a lot of good food. Hopefully, there's wine or rum available.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it seemed pretty similar growing up. I mean, I had to do a lot of like things in both sides, which kind of depleted my childhood of having like fun.
Well, that's the hard thing about 2 cultures, right?
Yeah.
Is like it doubles the family time.
It's just like now it's like I don't have to see everyone in my family all the time. Like we hung out. Like, you know what I mean? From up until I was 30, we hung out. So all the best. See you when I'm like 40. We need a break. Gap year at least. Like,
Gap year. Oh my god.
truly.
So growing up, was it just you and do you have siblings?
Yeah. So I have 2 sisters and 1 brother.
Nice. I'm also 2 sisters and a brother.
Okay, it's a weird dynamic. Is your brother the oldest?
He's the second oldest.
Oh, that's weird for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm the youngest. My brother's the oldest.
I'm also the youngest.
Okay, so like everyone hates
We're
us,
just
but like,
babies.
oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, no, truly. I like being the youngest because it's like, but then what I didn't realize is that you end up having to take care of everybody as you get older because everyone starts being like, I already did all this labor, so you got to do your shift. And you're like, oh, I would have helped out along the way. Yeah.
I think being the youngest is good if the people ahead of you are okay. You know, because I see some people with, if you have bad older siblings, that can be like lifelong torture.
Yeah.
I think I was fortunate. And then I think the thing that I got out of being the youngest is like, I worry about everyone's emotional state. And even away from my siblings, it's like I became that person who will always like try to fix the vibe in the room.
Yeah, I feel that so hard. You're like this big empath, and you always want to solve the problem, and there's always tension, and you can't live in that like tension. So you're just like, let's just all get along, and it's such a huge task.
And I find it's easy for me to be one-on-one with a person because I'm like, I'll just be agreeable, and then it works. But then when there's more than one person, then it's like, I can't adapt to both of you. So people are gonna have to learn.
Yeah, I know. I'm in that right now. Like everyone in my family's fighting, which is not new.
Yeah.
Like when you grow up with like a Jewish and Jamaican household, like everyone's always fighting. It's always the most like the smallest thing that's blown way out of proportion, and it lasts like years.
We're Greek and Croatian.
Oh my gosh.
And we have like strong personalities, long grudges. And my mother says the problem in this family is everyone has too much self-esteem.
Oh, I love. Okay, so I feel like I might have known this already, maybe about the Croatian thing about you, but maybe I didn't, because you know that I'm dating a Croatian.
Yes. And
the Croatian culture I find so similar to like, I guess the struggle that has to happen like through the 90s with the war, like kind of changed Croatians fundamentally to the point where like,
I don't think we were normal though before that, because my family, well, no, some of my family got out during it.
Right.
Like, I think my grandfather was an escapee.
Wow.
But I think we might have been intense. I think Croatia just had a long, shitty past.
It's like
they were never on top.
No. Yeah, they weren't ever on top, but they're like their lives are the way they play soccer. Okay, the way Croatians play soccer, it's like, we're not going to come out with all the bells and whistles. We're going to wear you down methodically over a long period of time. Like, literally. They're just playing casually, and then it's just like the last goal wins everything. And everyone's like, how'd we get here? We were striking. We have like 19 shots on net, and they have 2. And it's like, well, they just watched you and then figured out how to figure it out. And I'm like, I respect that. I like that whole, like, it's always like, we don't need to be the flashiest or the best, but we're gonna get the job done. I
swear to God, and like getting advice from my older siblings, like anything school and work related, it's kind of like you can always outwork the other side. It's not even like a confidence. It's not like we're the smartest or the coolest or the best. It's like, we'll just go at it longer.
Yeah, we'll just keep going. That's literally what it is. Like, it took my boyfriend like 3 years for us to start dating because I didn't even know he liked me. He was just like, I was like, you know, you're chilling, you're in other relationships, like, we're just hanging out. And then I was like, it took his friend for me to be like, he's like, what do you think about Ivan? And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't think he likes me like that. He's like, I double check.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, and then we just started like right after that hanging out and then dating. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, I don't know, just let the action show.
And it's pretty far into it now, right? Like, you guys live together.
Yeah, full on live together. It's been over 5 years now, which is like nuts.
Beautiful. And his name's Ivan, which I
Ivan.
love.
Yeah, he has the most like Croatian name of all time.
Yeah, it's very...
Yeah, it's Ivan Sudatic, like very
oh
like...
Oh my God.
Yeah, right? It's very like...
I love it.
It's very like, you are from the north.
What do you think your kids would if you had kids, what would they grasp onto in that kind of a cultural mix-up?
I think this is actually a good question, because I think that based on what we were saying before, it's like, there's no way you can't get the Croatian into the child. Like, they will not allow their history and their culture to be overshadowed. So like right now, my boyfriend's sister and her husband have a child, and I don't even she's just already eating cabbage rolls, already like full on like loving like the plums. Like, it's just like, I'm like, oh, you're already fully Croatian. We have to remind you that you're also Muslim. But it's like so funny. It's just like that whole thing. I think they'll get in there right away.
I love that. Have you guys been to Croatia? Like, or have you been?
I just got back. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been yet, so tell me everything.
Okay, so not your traditional experience. I went with my boyfriend's mom
Just you two.
Just us two.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Confident lady.
Yeah, I was just like, we're like super tight, and I do love her so much. And she was like, I want to go back and like see my family. I haven't been back in 10 years. No one will go with me. And I was like, oh, that's rough. And she was like, no one will go with me. And I was like, oh no. And she's like, no one. I was like, okay, would you like me to come with you? And so we went, and it was just us two. We spent 2 days at the beginning at a spa. Had a good like.
That's a great way to kick off a vacation.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you can't relax because you've been working and worrying, and you can't slow down.
100%. So like we hung out at a spa in like where were we? We were just outside of Zagreb, and then that was great.
Is Zagreb at the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like that's the capital. It's like right at the top. Like so it's like, I guess maybe like 4 hours from Dubrovnik, and so we were up at the top there. And it was beautiful. It's just like I love seeing like land, open land, like greenery. Like it was just like so nice. The food was so good. And then we went to Zagreb and stayed in the actual city. And then I went to London for the last couple days. And so yeah, and if anyone's wondering what that sound is, they are breaking in.
That's the fireman breaking down the door.
Yeah, which is like, how are they going to fix that afterwards is my question.
They're going to wish they had better located the fucking drop lockbox.
Truly. And like, see what I mean? Like the chaos that follows me. Like, it's just like literally. But yeah, no, it's beautiful. I haven't been to the south though, so I will go back and go to the south, I think.
Yeah.
Next year. Let's maybe take a little pause and then come back.
Yeah. All right. We did it.
We're back.
And by we, I mean the paramedics. Well, I guess the firefighters.
The firefighters did
They
it.
kicked in the door and rescued him.
Thank God.
And then Tamara and I are just talking about how we don't want to ever get home.
Which is like, yeah, I was just like, oh, like I don't know. I don't think I could do that. I think like just I'm good at like 2 years of retirement to enjoy.
2 years.
And then like I'm good. Travel on the government's dime that they saved for me, I guess. And then it's good. You can take me away.
I have big dreams that I'll somehow figure out like the early retirement.
I hope so.
Because I feel, okay, so like I know some people, it's usually where both of their parents were like teachers and they got that 50-something retirement happening and then had the money where they actually were traveling and doing stuff for like a decade.
Yeah. So, because I think you can retire legally in Canada if you have worked for half of your life to the same organization. Is that what it is?
I think it depends where you work. Like teachers have a pension that kicks in after X number of years.
Right.
And then I don't know how any of the rest of it works.
I think it's like if you work for the same corporation. Someone was telling me this because they're coming up for retirement. They're going to retire at like 42 or something crazy.
What?
Because they've been working for the same company for 18 years, and the amount and how old they are is now they've worked for over half their life now.
So they can get like Canada pension?
Yeah, because it's like if it's the same company and then it's over, like, so 18 years they've been working there, and so that means they must be 40. Yeah, turning 40. So
that's crazy. You shouldn't be retiring at 40.
I wish I could retire right now. Are you kidding me? Like, I guess we are kind of retired. Well, you're not retired.
I'm still working full time. I'm kind of newer to comedy.
Yeah.
But are you full-time comedy?
Full-time comedy now.
It's amazing.
It is, it took me, honestly, to feel comfortable doing full-time comedy. This is my 11th year, and I quit my job in January. So it's going to be almost a year, and I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
And it's been, honestly, way less stressful. Somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Okay. I'm so glad. Okay, first off, like, you're amazing. I had you headline a show I produced, and I was so happy. It made me, like, so proud. I was like, I picked her out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
that show was so fun.
And then it just makes me glad that you like it, doing it, because it's my dream. So, some people will not like their dream once they get there, and then it discourages other people who have the same dream, right?
Yeah, okay, that is so true. I honestly love performing is my favorite thing. It's all the other things that come with comedy that I think I'm really happy that I had to do, like all that teaching and all that background stuff that I had to do throughout the whole course of my life, because it helped me be able to like figure out a promo schedule, figure out how to make posters, all that stuff that you have to do to like put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Is a lot of work, but the performing makes it all worth it, so that's good. But I do like, what's good about both sides of where you are from, like being Greek and Croatian, it's like your brand of humor is just like so funny, because the dryness of both sides of those cultures is like perfect for comedy. It's like so perfect. But like, yeah, no, I finally got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna have to figure it out, and just because I'm always like, what if I get to a point where I am struggling again and I'm like in my late 30s? And
yeah.
I don't want to do that. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to go somewhere and be like, I can't afford it. Like,
there are like younger people in the scene who the way they make decisions around it are different because they haven't had stability yet.
Yeah.
And they're, they're younger people, but at a certain point you have to be serious. Like, even if you're doing a dream job, you have to do it in a reasonable way.
Yeah, like it's like I can't be asking my mom to transfer me $100 anymore. Like, I'm literally grown. So like, you know what I mean? So it's like those kind of things I have to avoid.
Yeah.
But luckily I got to a point where like and it was honestly, it was so exhausting. Like I feel like I took years off my life, like grinding and going out there, but it was really fun to do because I was young when I started doing it. But I feel like now if I were to restart my whole, because people are like, why don't you move to like another place and start over? It's like, I'm going to have to blow up here, and something's going to have to happen. Like, it's like I'll go and tour places, but like to move somewhere and nobody know who I am and start from the bottom again would be a nightmare, which like, I think people are doing right now, which is fine. But it's like to go somewhere and lose my healthcare and like, I just don't know if I can do all that again.
I think there's also like a lot of people who just really want to be involved in like the American film and television industry, and they don't respect Canada's at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I could get a Canadian sitcom, like I think I'd like that better. Like we put out really cool comedies.
Okay, here's the thing about Canadian shows. Why do they look Canadian? That's what's hard for me to understand. Like even Schitt's Creek, I'm like, yeah, great. Yeah. It still looks Canadian. I don't know what that is. Is that like a wallpaper? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, why? I've wondered this too.
Like, because I'm like, this is a great show. Why they can't
make it look more... Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. It's like, I shouldn't be able to like look at shows and be like, that's clearly Canadian. Even if it's so good. Like, there's so many amazing shows and you're like, if someone in America was watching this, they'd be like, oh, this isn't from us. Where does that disconnect?
Yeah.
But I do agree. There are so many great Canadian shows. There's so much great Canadian talent. And I just don't think that we're very respected, even in our own community.
No.
Which is the problem. But I'm hoping it will get better. I'm hoping that it's slowly getting better. Who knows, though? It's like the realities that way. I guess we do need the American side more than we care to admit.
Yeah.
And then kind of,
You've had some exciting stuff happen lately, right? Like, you were on a TV show, like...
I was on the new wave of stand-up.
Which is...
It's on CBC Gem, yeah. Okay. And so, that's 10 minutes of stand-up. I did that for Just for Last Vancouver. It was so fun. And it's my first, like, real TV credit, other than I did Out TV. That was back in the pandemic, and it didn't feel that real. But not to discredit, it's a real thing. But, like, I did this program called Out for Laughs, and I like had a 10-minute set on there, and then this was like my big 10-minute set reveal. And it was amazing. I had such a great time. The pressure that you get before you're about to do something really big is like kind of the adrenaline that I want. It just makes you feel like it's like it has a purpose. Everything you're doing is like real again, instead of just like sometimes you're just at all these open mics and you're going to like all these shows and you're like, am I just gonna keep doing this? Like, is this gonna be worth something? And those are like the milestones that you're like, oh yeah, it all pays off.
And when you run into people from your past and they're like, how's your comedy career going? You can be like, check me out on this.
Yeah, all my exes. This sounds good. Okay. Yeah. So funny. I feel like I've been bumping into so many of my exes this past month.
Oh.
Like, just
the universe is like sending
exes all over. Like, on every ex I've had in the past 5 years has hit me up recently.
That's amazing.
No, it's not amazing. I'm just like, what is happening? Like, it's just, and I'm friends with most of my exes. Are you friends with your exes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't really run into them, but if I did, we're friends.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of people think that's so weird. Don't people ever tell you that that's, like, super weird?
I feel like it doesn't come up, but I don't think people should find that weird.
I think it's more weird if people are just like, I don't talk to any of my exes. I'm like, okay.
And I get a lot of people who have this. I talk to a lot of people who have like a really like they wish they don't have good hopes for their ex.
Yeah.
And I get it if something just happened, but everyone in my past, I'm like, oh, I hope he's doing well, you know?
I genuinely hope that they're doing better because it's like, at least I can be like, yeah, you were the problem. You know what I mean? If they're doing the same and everyone's like, they're great, I'm like, wait, was I the issue? But yeah, it's like, please do better so that I know that like I was settling and now I know what I could have had. Or else what are we doing? You know what I mean? Oh, man.
Are you big on like everything happens for a reason, sort of like you grew from bad things in the past?
Oh, yeah. I am the poster child for blaming the universe for things not happening the way I want and being like, what's going on? And then me realizing that I was learning the exact same lesson 6 times. That was so stubborn. So yeah, everything that's happened has happened for a reason. And everything that like, I will learn the exact same lesson over and over again until I actually have to be like, oh, maybe I need to fix something within myself. So it took me a long time to figure out a lot of stuff about myself. My 20s were very big, like, learning period. And I feel like my 30s have been, like, finally I've figured it out for the most part. But I think that, like, whereas I don't cut off any of my exes, I've cut off a lot of friends. So I don't know if I'm doing much better. But
do you think, like, you had some toxic friends, like you needed to clean house a little?
So many toxic friends, which made me realize I was also toxic. So that's one good thing I learned in therapy. It's like I was also like, I had like enabling toxic behavior where people were doing toxic things. I just kind of like was like, well, this will be funny. Because I was like doing so much stand-up. I was like, well, at least this will.
Yeah.
So then when I'm trying to be like holier than thou and be like, I can't associate with you. And they're like, you were encouraging me. I'm like, that is correct. And that's the old me.
I think I had like a toxicity that was hard for me to see because it was kind of a lot of being negative and spending a lot of energy like shit talking other people, but it wasn't like causing real drama. It was just maybe like interpreting things as like somebody else is to blame here and not being responsible for things.
100. Okay, so we had the same life, girl. No, literally.
And then it's not like I don't think people would have been like, oh, she was always the worst girl with the meanest friends. But it's just like I wasn't in a evolving space.
Yeah, I wasn't like, I was very stagnant and very like not probing to find out why things were happening. Just kind of like, this keeps happening to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, getting therapy was really helpful for that. Are you in therapy?
I just went back.
Okay, yeah, it's always good to go back.
I had like a big breakthrough when I was like 35, and then I'm now like 44, and I've just had some resurgence.
Sorry, what was that? You look like you're 27 years old. You say you're 45.
44.
You're not 44.
I am.
Okay, see, these are the Croatian Greek genes. If you're looking for a mix that you'd like for your child,
a little,
yeah,
mental health isn't there, but like outside,
yeah, pretty on the outside.
And there's also like longevity, like on my Greek side of the family,
yeah,
which is like staying alive too far past the inside going mush.
That's because there's that Greek place that is it Greece? Or is it Italy, the place where everyone lives past 100?
Yeah, Crete.
Yeah, that's
but there's another island
in Italy too.
In Greece that has, I don't even know what it's called, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I have to live past 100, truly shoot me. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing about me that's like, let's keep it going.
Like, my dad's side, like, the men in my dad's family would like be in their 90s, but like very insane, or not insane, but they're doing rough mentally. My grandmother actually went to 102, and she was pretty solid. She was a bit more anxious in the last like 7 years.
Yeah, because she's like, what is happening? I've been alive for a decade. Oh, wait, sorry, a century. Yeah. Yeah, my grandmother lived till 103 too.
That's
what,
amazing.
did you say 102?
Two, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was...
Was this the Jewish one?
No.
This was a Jamaican.
Yeah. And it was wild because she was my only living grandmother.
Does Jamaica have a lot of longevity?
I don't know. I think it's like... I mean, I guess, yeah, people live pretty long. I won't lie. Yeah, people do live pretty long. It's just the cholesterol, I think, that kind of gets people at some point.
So it's either, like a lot of people going young, but if you make it old, you can go very old.
Like 50 or 100.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know what I mean? How much curry goat and oxtail were you eating? Like, we need to know, right? That will be a determining factor, right? But, yeah, but I feel like...
So she was your only grandparent? At one point?
When I was born, I only ever met her.
Yeah,
everyone else was dead.
I only knew my
Yeah, because like my mom had me when she was 41, and my grandma was already dead. So like it was wild. So when all of my friends, so it took me a long time to really realize how grief felt.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't have that, like, when I was growing up, my grandparents dying because they were already dead.
Yeah.
And then my grandma didn't die until she was 103. So then I just kind of was like...
I lost my grandmother at 32 or something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly.
But I had I had a great uncle growing up who was like my grandfather. So he was the one who went at 97, and he'd been, like, deeply confused for, like, 5 years.
Right.
That was hard.
That is hard to watch. Like... That's the whole thing, like getting older and then losing your quality of life. It's like, I don't know if you want this. And then it makes it so much harder. That's like, you don't want people to go, but you're like, I know you don't want to live like this.
Yeah.
And the brain is such an interesting thing because like, it does just really play tricks on you. Like it really can just out of nowhere, you're just not yourself anymore. It can rewire. It can like, you can go through psychotic breaks that rewire your brain. Like you like dementia and like Alzheimer's, all these things are just so
talking to a friend of mine, just like reaching out to her about, because my dad's getting older, and she was just saying, because her mom's still alive, and she says like, and I know her mom, I've met her, she's like, my mom's personality changed with her stroke. She's like, in ways I've already mourned her.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I didn't even know that about her, because it's not like the most obvious thing where, you know, somebody has Alzheimer's, you know it's bad, but I didn't even know that she had gone through that. It was really intense to find out.
It is hard because I feel like with family things, especially like certain cultures, like exposing things that are going on in your family is like so taboo. So a lot of people keep that in. The Jamaican culture is a lot like that. Like it's like you don't share your problems with anybody. Oh. You don't tell anybody anything that's going on. It's very surface level things. That's why they talk so much shit. Like they just like little mini things or things that they talk about, but deep things are like always swept under the rug, always very hidden.
That's amazing. Because yeah, you think of Jamaican people, it's just like open, right? Because they're fun, but it's
all surface level, and then all the like real problems that are happening are so buried beneath, and that's why there's all just like erratic behavior all the time. Like truly. And so it's like my family's notorious for people just dying with a disease that they didn't tell anybody that they had, and then we just find out the day they're dead. Really annoying. Like my aunt, she's my favorite aunt, my Aunt Dorothy. She had stomach cancer, didn't tell anybody, and just like died. And then we just get a phone call like she's dead, and we're like, oh, what? Like suddenly they're like, oh no, she was battling it for like years.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's a running theme in our family, like people just being like, oh yeah, I didn't want to like stress anybody out, so I just like lived with cancer and died. It's like, what? I had no idea. It's nuts.
That must be so hard to go through, like to find out when they're gone they were going through that, and then you weren't able.
It's brutal. A lot of surprise funerals. So
do you talk to your siblings and be like, okay guys, we're gonna be different?
We're too far apart in age for us to be different. they're too far into that lifestyle of how they like just cover everything up. How old
are they?
So my sister that's youngest before like after me is we're 19 years apart, so she's...
Oh, shit.
How old am I? So she's turning 55.
So they're just of that generation.
Yeah. Or she's turning 56. She's 55 now, I guess. What am I turning? We're 19 years apart. So I'm turning 37. So she's turning 55. That means my other sister just turned 57. And then my brother's 59. My mom's 77.
Wow. This is so intense because I have really siblings really close in age to me. And when we talked about our siblings being the same, but you're like their baby.
Yeah. So it's like I didn't get a chance to really like grow up the way that I like with a childhood. I was just being watched by everybody. So my other sister, the one that's the youngest after me, like we're the 19 years apart, she kind of helped me like sneak out and get booze and that kind of stuff because she's like
a fun aunt.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, okay, you can do all this stuff, but like I'm picking you up, I'm driving you home, I'm doing this stuff, like so you can have this like window of fun.
Yeah.
And then mom will never know. But if you don't do those things that I've asked you to, and you like break free out of that, and you decide that you're just going to test my patience, I'm telling her everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh.
Which the best kind of youth to have, I think, is where you had fun, but you knew not to make certain mistakes.
Exactly.
Like the don't drink and drive. Or
oh, that's a huge one. Like I really can't stand anyone that does that.
Yeah. It's so not needed.
Well, just like spend the money that you should.
Yeah.
That you like. That's how much it costs to drink and go out, man.
Yeah.
So it's like if your Uber is $80 to get home, that's what you wanted this night. So like if you didn't want this night to be $250, then drive and don't drink. Like there's very easy options.
Throw a house party.
That's what my mom would do. So when she was like, I don't want you going out and like getting exposed to all this like crazy stuff and then me not knowing where you are. So she'd have all my friends drive, leave their keys with us. And then she'd like make all this food for the basement. Because I had the whole basement suite when I was 16, which is like, now looking back, I was like, thanks, Mom.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Right? And so she's like, everyone can stay over. Everyone can drink all the booze here. All the parents knew where everyone was. They knew that they were all drinking and that there was food provided, that they were staying over at my house. So I was like, okay. Cool.
I love it.
Yeah. Cool mom after all. Right? But did you have anything like that when you were growing up?
My parents were actually also similar in that we don't really care if you drink, but like the no drinking and driving.
That's a key thing.
So they drop us off at the bar. Like, I want to say there's obviously a period of time I was drinking and hiding it from them. But I think because my older siblings had turned 19, there was a point when I was underage, but we were just like having keg parties.
Right.
And then it was just like, cab downtown and.
Yeah. You got to. Like, that's, I'm grateful for that. I feel like, and that's what I love about my boyfriend's family. Like, they're just kind of like, drink whatever you want in this house. It's like, I'm like, oh, I can see how you guys grew up. Like, I find that with Croatians, everyone's drinking all the time.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And I think the youngest I was drinking would have been even at some weddings where it was just like, you're 14, but it's like, it's at a wedding, so it's legal.
That's the most Greek Croatian shit you've ever said. I'm at a wedding, so that like take away the law and carry the one, and it's legal. It's legal. I'm a tween, so it's legal. No, I love that.
You know what? I didn't ask you. What does your boyfriend do? Like, he's not a comedian, is he?
Good question. I'm trying to figure that out. No, he's a machinist.
Okay.
He has a really great job. He keeps explaining what it is to me. I don't get it.
The name in itself is cool. It sounds blue collar.
It's very much, like
he knows how to do something.
Yeah, he has a very specific trade. It's like Christian Bale vibes. Like, you know, that. But he's really good at his job. I don't know what it means. I know I'm the worst girlfriend. You got
a general idea.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I always think of the Friends episode when they have the trivia game and Joey gets the question, like, what is Chandler's job? And he's like, something with numbers.
No, literally, that's how I feel. I literally feel like that because I'm like, I don't know. All I know is that, like, he is really great at it. He's moved up in the company so quickly, and he has a lunchbox.
Oh.
That they gave to him.
Do you make him his lunch for him?
I do now.
Now that you're full-time comedy.
Now that I'm full-time comedy, I'm home. I don't have an excuse.
Doing wifey stuff?
Yeah, because he works from like 4 p.m. until 4 a.m. right now. Usually it's 4 till 2 a.m. But like I get up and then it's just like, imagine I'm just like up all morning and he just gets up and he's like, are you gonna eat? It's like, oh, I ate. you know, so I'm like, okay, let's make some for you. So yeah, I try my best to like be a good girlfriend in that sense where I'm like, okay, I'll make food in the morning since I'm already up.
That's sweet. Is he funny?
He's literally the funniest person I've ever met. And that's what's really annoying because he's just so funny and he doesn't care to be like the center of attention.
That's the best kind of partner, right?
It's
you get
the best.
to shine, but they still make you laugh all the time.
Yeah. And so like when he tells me if a joke's funny or not, I'm like, oh, okay, he likes that one. So the ones he likes are the ones that I'm like, if I'm ever going to do like a taping or anything, I'll like take the ones that he likes the most. Cause I'm like, it takes a lot for him to like really find something funny.
One of my sisters is the only person I run stuff by because people feel a pressure to pretend things are funny because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Worse. Yeah.
But she has a special talent of like, she doesn't mind if she hurts me.
Yeah.
So I'll just go through and she'll just be like she has just not laughed for 2 minutes of me talking. And then other times I'm going through it, she's laughing hysterically and I'm like, this is gonna crush.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, that's what you need. You need honest friends. Like, I feel like I'm that honest person that's just like, yeah, no, we're not feeling it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't run anything by Ivan anymore. I just kind of like, as joke form, I'll just say it naturally, like what comics usually do, like at shows where they're just like, oh yeah, they're saying something, then you go see them do it on stage. You're like, were you running bits on me? But like, so I'll do that to him because I'm like, oh, if I keep being like, and another bit, he's like, yeah. I don't want to do your job with you. I'm at home. Like, you know. But it's nice to have that.
Do you find it weird when people are funny but they don't want to be a comedian?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what? You had a good childhood? Like, what's going on? Like, why don't you want to be a comedian? But I find that like those are the people that I'm like, oh, we need these people in the world.
Yeah.
People that are just like not super into themselves in that sense where they need to be the center of attention, but they keep the world going round.
Yeah.
They're the people that like make people not want to kill themselves at the office.
Yes.
which we need those.
Because honestly, as much as say like I think of like how much I love like Tig Notaro, it's like I love like people I've worked with who made me laugh at work. They were probably the most important.
So important. Like from those corporate jobs I had, like the people that would make little jokes or like make you laugh in meetings, I'm like, oh, without you, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah.
Like truly. So it's like I like those low-key warriors.
Yeah.
They're just fighting the good fight. They're just like, yeah, I make the whole lunchroom laugh and then I go and plug away at my spreadsheet and then I go home and I'm like, you're doing the Lord's work.
For sure.
Literally. But I mean, I've had so many like what's the craziest job you've had?
The weirdest job I had was like when I was a kid, my first job, I took like theater lessons at this school and then they had a busking troupe of clowns. So
sorry.
At like 12 years old, I worked as a clown.
What?
Like I would like go around like the mall or like a park, like a public place, handing out flyers for a business. Or like we'd go to like a kid's birthday party and make balloon animals and like paint their faces.
No way.
It was probably the coolest job I ever had. But like, you know, like 13 years old, I think me and my friends were flirting with this guy who worked at Subway. And he was like, I recognize you. And
no.
I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you were dressed up as a clown in the mall the other day. And I was like, no, I wasn't. You're crazy. And then I quit my job.
That's so... Can you imagine? You were dressed up as a clown. It's like, no. Oh my. That's so wild. As if that happens to you. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. That's, whew, I did not expect that. And that is hilarious. Oh my gosh.
What was your shittiest job?
honestly very easy to remember. I wouldn't say it's the shittiest. I think it built a lot of character, but I worked door-to-door sales.
Oh dear God.
100% commission. Yeah,
What were you selling?
TV, internet, and home phone for Bell Canada.
Okay.
And I mean rain or shine,
Yeah.
summer, winter.
Okay, it's not the sketchiest product, but that's fucking hard.
Well, Bell making us work on 100% commission was insane, but I worked for this like almost like cult, I would say. It was cult energy the way the whole system was set up. They would argue it's not, whatever. It is. And so it's just all like motivational stuff, like we're all in this together, like don't break away from this. We had meetings, we had forced time that we had to be at work, forced team nights that we had to go out.
God.
And then we're just like walking around doing door to door. There's like, we do like workshops and teach people how we would sell, and it was grueling. Days where it was like minus 20 out, we're just still out there. You end up having
So
to like
outside sales, 100% commission.
Yeah.
And door to door, so people are mad at you.
People are mad at you, and you have to like break it. Like you have to kind of like get them to like you right away, which honestly helped a lot for comedy. So as much as it was like a cult, it was like a useful cult.
Yeah. Like most people know, they never get out of the cult, or all the cult did was ruin them.
Yeah.
But it helped you in your future career.
It did. It helped me realize that like with comedy, especially like having to work and then not know what the result would be until after. So like having to like promo a show or build a show or like schedule a tour and being like, well, I'll work until I can make all that money and figuring it out, like was because I was just like, I'd go outside and be like, hopefully I make money today, or else I literally came here for no reason and I lost money. And like if you sold TV, internet, and home phone altogether, it's $126. So you'd make $126 if you got 2 sales in a day, which was like ideal. Then you make $252. And then you're trying to get a sale every day, and then you'd have like these law of averages, and it's like all this stuff that you would try to like. We had to like basically a script. We had to make it sound very normal. I wish I could remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it was really crazy. Like the minute they opened the door, it's like, "Hi, I'm looking for this person," and they're like, "Oh, that's me," and I'm like, "Perfect." The reason I'm here is because, oh my gosh, I remember it. The reason I'm here is because we've been tied upgrades to your area, and I see right here that you're with Rogers, and they're like, "Oh," and then like you go into it, like get them immediately to like answer, and then you're like, "Oh," or they'd be like, "Go fuck yourself." But I did that, and I would hit like, you'd hit, what is it, 60 doors in a day.
Fuck.
And you'd keep looping those same doors. So if you got a set of leads, you couldn't just do like all the leads because you're not working your law of averages. So you'd hit the same 60 doors like over and over in 3 loops throughout the whole night. So you'd get there at like 2 p.m. and you'd hit those doors until like 8 p.m. And then you'd go back to the office to the bell ceremony where we played music and everyone would be like dancing and clapping, and you'd ring the bell if you got a sale.
Oh shit.
And
that's
like,
the cult.
Yeah.
They're ritualizing it.
Yeah.
And, oh my God.
And then the shame if you didn't get a sale, you're standing there clapping for everybody else. It was like so insane. It was like,
okay. How long did you do it for?
2 years. Can you believe that?
I literally can't. Like I know.
2 years. And like the way that it all came, like the way that it all ended is that I was supposed to be at a conference. I was already hating the job so much.
Yeah.
And then I took the GO train down to go to this conference, and there was like a whole marathon or parade happening, and I couldn't make it to the Chelsea hotel to make it for this conference, and I missed the conference, but it wasn't my fault. Like it just really was like everything was just so insane. And then they like brought me in, and they're like, yeah, so you like actively didn't want to go to the conference, and like they made it seem like I did it on purpose. And I was like, okay, I guess the road ends here. Like, because it was just like, I'm not going to sit here and like beg you to prove that like I was trying to come to the conference. Like, why the fuck did I get dressed and take the GO train from Pickering to go to the, like, you think I just did that for fun?
And with something so hard, sometimes you need to be appreciated, or it just like you run out of cares.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, bye forever.
Yeah, fuck those people.
Like,
do you ever just like think about like, however, when something's bad, like at least it's not that.
That's
like,
literally, yeah.
Because when you have a bad job, I feel like it it just darkens that whole time period, you know, like
100%. To be honest, the friends I made during that time period made that whole thing great. But without that, it would have just been so crazy. But it's just like,
so you guys were just like making each other laugh.
Yeah, we were just making like, yeah, and I worked with another comedian, and like, so that was great. 2 other comedians.
Are they
actually
still in it?
No, actually, they're doing different things in comedy, but not like stand up necessarily. Okay. But like just getting through it, and like some of my 2 of my really great friends from that company are now married with 2 kids. Like it all kind of like worked out. We found each other, but it was like looking back on it, I was like, oh, I was so manipulated. Like it's so wild how like that cult mentality really does. Like it can get anyone. It can get even the smartest people. Actually, I would argue it gets the smartest people.
And the thing is, like, I feel like too, like if you can do sales like that, you can go sell a car. There's good sales out there. And I feel like too many people, like, they're busting their ass, but it's toxic, it's awful. And it's like some friend of theirs has to be like, go take that talent somewhere where you get a big reward.
All my best friends were like, you need to leave this job. You're crying in your car all the time. You need to leave this job. And I was like, no. And then like finally my group of best friends sat me down. They're like, girl, you're in a cult. And like it was like a full-blown intervention. Like, you gotta, like, you're in a cult. This is crazy. Like, because we're at real jobs and they're not like this job.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
I finally, like, it finally ended, and I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna do comedy and just like focus all of that my time into that. My mom was like, what about your degrees? Like, what are you doing? And I was just I'm so good at sales that I was like, I'm gonna get trapped in this like time frame of like just doing sales, and I'm eventually gonna be like this sales rat that just like I can sell anything I don't believe in, all slimy and grimy, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. And that's when I was like, I gotta go back to like my good side.
You're like, yeah, that's actually really cool. Like you have a purpose and you can follow that.
Yeah. So then I just like volunteered for the World Wildlife Fund for a bit and just like kind of like did things that fed my soul while doing like comedy. And then I was like, I feel so much better about what I'm doing instead of feeling like I'm manipulating people all the time.
Yeah.
Because like with a big corporation like Bell, like, I mean, it's just like little things happen where like I would get phone calls years later being like, my bill's triple the amount. Like they fucked me. Like you said this. And it's like, that's what they told me to tell you. And so that's on them. But then it's just kind of like, that just felt so greasy. I was like, I don't want to deal with this shit. Like, it just gets to a point where you're like, I'm tired of like, I'm taking the word of this corporation and being like, oh, that's what's true. But it's like, I don't know that. Like, I'm not in that part of your business. So like, I don't want to tell people that that's exactly how it's going to work.
And it is kind of like you can do something for a short amount of time, but for a long time, like it does change who you are.
Yeah. You just start being like, everything can be sold and every person can be convinced and everything can be manipulated. And I'm like, yeah. Like when I worked in marketing, when I worked in advertising, it's just like the way that I learned how to like how to get people's minds to want things that they don't necessarily want. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel gross.
Yeah.
But like, I was really good at it. But like, I just kind of had to be like, I need to take a step back. Because like, is this really, who is this actually helping?
Yeah.
The corporation. And that's about it.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, now you're doing like the dirty work of people that won't do it for themselves. You're like the spokesperson for this like toxic place. You know?
So what's next for you in terms of comedy?
Good question. I am going on tour. So I'll be on tour starting October 17th.
Okay, so it's the 6th right now?
Yeah, so I'm going to be on tour from October 17th until December 20th.
Amazing.
With Rebecca Reeds and Monica Gross. We're on the Passive Aggressive Comedy Tour.
I love it. I love it. I don't know Rebecca, but I know Monica. She's incredible.
It's going to be great. Yeah, I'm super pumped. And just like, you know, I'm taking back the whole thing where it's like women, I don't want it to be like women in comedy versus men in comedy, but it's like, I want a tour where we're all headliners and, well, like me and Rebecca are headliners. Monica's like up and coming, great feature act. And I want people to be able to go to the show and be like, hey, I did judge this in the beginning and be like, oh, I'm going to watch 3 women do comedy. And then be like, but that was actually just comedy. Just so sick of the whole like, oh, are you gonna talk about your periods? Are you gonna it's like, no, I'm gonna talk about how men fucked me up. Are you like what do you think I'm gonna talk about? Like, obviously I'm gonna talk about everything. Like, everyone's just gonna be like angry at men.
Yeah.
And it's all gonna be about this. Like, what do you like? I have real experiences that are outside of men, if you can believe it.
I love like I don't know. I just like Tig Notaro, Catherine Ryan, I'm like super obsessed with.
Yeah.
I just feel like Mae Martin, you know, just there's so many, like almost aside from Nate Bargatze, like everyone I'm obsessed with right now is a woman.
Yeah.
I want to go to like female dominated shows. Like they're where it's at. It's such a good vibe.
It's a great vibe, and it's like not like it's becoming a different movement. I think that we're over the whole like every single joke's about your dick. Like, thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's like it's just kind of like there's range, and I want people to know that there's range. And like also like I'm going on tour with three, like in total, like three of us are kind of like we're kind of rude, like kind of passive aggressive, kind of bitchy. Like, it's gonna be good humor, it's gonna be fun.
And that's the thing too. Now that there's more women in it, I think there's more types, right? So it's like it's not just like is it a female comic, but it's like what type of female comic? 'Cause women do it in a different way from each other.
100%. And it's like these are three completely different types of acts on tour together. So I think that, you know, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
we're going like Sarnia, Kitchener, Ottawa.
And where can we find the dates?
Oh yeah, you can find the dates on my Instagram at tmare or linktree.com/passiveaggressive tour.
Nice.
And then and then so we'll be doing that, and then in January I'll be recording a special, so look out for that.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm so excited for the special, and also to like learn from you like what that process is like.
Yeah, I've done a couple albums like independently, but the special is going to be a whole new beast, so I will definitely keep you posted on how intense and grueling it is, because I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but yeah, here we go.
Amazing. Thanks so much for being on, Tamara.
Thank you so much for having me.